Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Do we measure our year by how we did in our New Year's resolutions? Do you even remember your New Year's resolution? I don't. I really don't. Like, trying to remember. Do you know what the most popular New Year's resolution is? Lose weight. Get healthy, right? Get healthy. Imagine if we all weighed our year based on that. We got to be kind to ourselves, right? Here's one guy who made a New Year's resolution about health, and this is how he started. Okay, 2013, I will get my weight down below 180. 2014, I will watch my calories until I get below 190. 2015, I will follow my new diet religiously until I get below 200. 2016, I will try to develop a realistic attitude about my weight. 2017, I will work out 5 days a week. 2018, I will work out 3 days a week. 2019, I will do my best to try to drive past a gym once a week. So we keep those health ones. Sometimes we have to keep lowering the bar, right? We measure our lives based on a New Year's resolution. It's kind of like cliche, right? So how can we measure our lives? And one way that we tend to measure our lives is by time. Time. Thinking about how much time we spent doing what we love, being with our family, our friends, doing work that we love doing. We tend to look back on the year and see how much time we didn't have. You feel like you just never seem to have enough time. Life seems to be moving so quickly, and there's so much you want to do. And how can you really fit in all the things? Do you feel that way? I feel that way. I get frustrated. There's so many things I have intended to do. And where did the time go? One of my intentions for the year was that my family and I wanted to go up to New York and see my New York family, who haven't met my daughter. She's almost 3. And they haven't had a chance to meet her because we're here, and it just didn't work out. We didn't get a chance to go. So what the good news is that we have tickets in a couple weeks to go. And so we're going up to New York, and it's for my dad's 90th birthday and my daughter's 3rd birthday. So that's really going to be wonderful. And so the good news is that we do have the time to do what we want to do. It's not maybe always in the calendar year that we would have liked or intended. One of the greatest regrets that parents have, is not spending more time with their kids or grandkids. We always want to do that. We want to consider, when we think about time, sometimes we consider what projects we haven't gotten done that we would have liked to have had done now, or maybe some construction in your home. Some of you are still healing from Harvey, that it's not all complete yet. A relationship that needs healing. Well, how about a whole life that's under construction? We can find ourselves in that place sometimes at the end of the year. You know, we all have desires in our hearts to do so many things. That's how we know we're alive, because we still have these desires to create, to give, to be with those that we love. And we know that that is from the divine, to do the work that we came to this planet to do. Yet we can feel sadness at the end of the year when we look back and we reflect and we think about what we didn't do that we hope to do. So I invite you to honor that if you're feeling that now, to go to your heart, to allow your heart to speak about that experience, and to know that your heart, that spirit in your heart is saying to you to be patient with yourself, to be patient, because in God there is no time. There is no time. You have all the time to do what you came to this planet to do, or it would not have been revealed to you that it is yours to do, and trust in that. I want to share with you about a composer whose patience paid off in his life. It took a long time for him to reach success, and his name is Jonathan Larson. In 1996, he had his big hit. It was a Broadway musical based on the Puccini opera La Bohème, and it's called Rent. You know, any of you seen Rent? Heard of Rent? Oh yeah, great Broadway musical and a movie. It won several Tony Awards and the Pulitzer Prize for drama. It was groundbreaking because of its style and its content. And while it seemed like an overnight sensation, Jonathan Larson had been writing music for 15 years, and he worked on Rent for 7 years before it finally had a major production and he gained success. We have time. I want to tell you about some actors who became famous later in life. My favorite one is Estelle Getty. I love Estelle Getty from the Golden Girls. She got the Golden Girls when she was 62. That was her big opportunity, her breakthrough role. Lucille Ball was 40 when she got the series I Love Lucy. F. Murray Abraham was 45 when he got an Oscar playing Salieri in Amadeus. Morgan Freeman was 52 when he made Driving Miss Daisy. And Judi Dench was 61 when she had her U.S. film breakthrough role as James Bond's boss in The Golden Eye. So, like fine wine, some of us take some time to ripen, right? And give ourselves time to think of yourself as fine wine. You can tell people, if they say, well, how come you haven't done that yet? I'm ripening. Hold on. Just wait. This is going to be delicious, I promise. Just want to encourage you, all of you who are working on your dream, to know that you do have enough time. When I was looking at how many classes it took to become a Unity minister, years of classes, okay? It was 250 hours of prerequisite classes before I could even apply for ministerial school, and 3 years of ministerial school, which took me 4 because I started online. It was a long process. And so by the time I was ordained, I was 38. Here I was in my early 30s being like, I'm going to be this hip young minister. Now, I'm like, all right, now here I am, I'm 43, which is still young in Unity ministry. So, it's great. It's great. Now, I see myself as having more than enough time to do the work that Spirit has called me to do, and I know that is true for you as well. I wanted to share with you from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. He has a passage on time where the astronomer asked the master, what of time? And this is what the prophet, the master teacher, answered. You would measure time, the measureless and the immeasurable. You would adjust your conduct and even direct the course of your spirit according to hours and seasons. Of time you would make a stream upon whose banks you would sit and watch it flowing. Yet the timeless in you is aware of life's timelessness and knows that yesterday is but today's memory and tomorrow is today's dream. And that which sings and contemplates in you is still dwelling within the bounds of that first moment which scattered the stars into space. Isn't that awesome? Let's read that part again. That which sings and contemplates in you is still dwelling within the bounds of that first moment which scattered the stars into space. Who among you does not feel his power to love is boundless? And yet who does not feel that very love, though boundless, encompassed within the center of his being and moving not from love thought to love thought, nor from love deeds to other love deeds? Boundless. And is not time, even as love is, undivided and spaceless? But if in your thought you must measure time in seasons, let each season encircle all the other seasons, and let today embrace the past with remembrance and the future with longing. So the good news about time is we are eternal beings. We remember as we reflect on 2018 that whatever we didn't accomplish and complete, there is more than enough time to accomplish it and our work, our spiritual work, is to be at peace and patient with ourselves in the process. So time, one way to measure our year. Another way to measure our year is with change. What things changed this year as we look back on the year? Well, there was welcome change and unwanted or unwelcome change. So many of us had some welcome change. Maybe it was a new job or a new baby, a new child or grandchild, new opportunities, some growth or a new home or something new that showed up, that showed God's good showing up in your life in a wonderful way. And then there's unwanted change. Like, don't talk about that. Unwanted change. Well, many of us have lost loved ones this year, family members, friends. Our parents may be going through the aging process. That can be an unwanted or difficult aspect of change for us to deal with. A difficult diagnosis that created a shift in the way that we spend our time and live our lives. Loss of a job. In the musical of Rent, their characters are experiencing lots of unwanted change in their lives. I wanted to share with you some about this musical of Rent. My husband and I have a personal connection to this show. In my past life, I tend to say it was this life, but my previous career, I was a performer, and one of my jobs, I worked on the show. I worked in the merchandising part of the show. And my husband's connection to the show was he was one of the producers of the off-Broadway revival of Rent. And so he's given me some insight into the story of how it all came together and the life of the show. And so I wanted to share some with you about it because the characters in it are undergoing so much life and death challenges, experiences that call them into a different consciousness and a connection together. The show is about a year in the life of a group of bohemians who are struggling in New York City between 1989 and 90 during the AIDS epidemic. And so they're seeing their friends dying and struggling. And they came to New York with a great dream, a dream of artistic expression or career or what have you. And they've had to shift their passion to focus on simply surviving. And so it causes them to come together, to unite, to create a bond of friendship and of love and respect, and to recognize that those are the aspects of life that really matter above all else. The composer Jonathan Larson said, "In our desensitized culture, the ones grappling with life and death issues often live more fully than members of the so-called mainstream." I share that with you because I think often when we have unwanted change come into our lives, we think it's stopping our lives somehow. It's keeping us from really living. We've got to put the brakes down. We've got to put a pause into what's going on. And what I know spiritually is that is not true. That is an opportunity for the Christ in you to step forward, to be more loving to yourself and to others, to connect more fully with others, to tell people how you feel about them, and to come together in harmony. It is always an opportunity for more God to show up in your life. One of the unwanted changes that I had in my life this past year over the summer, I got something called hand, foot, and mouth disease. It sounds terrible. It's one of those things passed on by toddlers. You know, I have a toddler. Any of you have toddlers, you know what it is. It's just this skin thing. It's a virus. You get it. You can't take anything for it. You just suffer, and then it goes away. And so I basically suffered. I martyred myself. You know, what a terrible thing. And my skin got all red blotches on it, my hands and my feet. They were very painful, and it peeled, and it was just a long, ugly, embarrassing process. And you can't really wear gloves in the summer in Houston and get away with it without somebody saying, "What is that about?" So I just had to be exposed in all the glory of what it was. I didn't want it. I'm an angry, sick person. I'm like, I don't want to be sick. I don't know if you're like that. I resist it, and then I pray, and I've got to surrender and just allow. And so when I went to Spirit about it, and I prayed on it, and what is this about? And I really felt that this was an external sign of something new being born in me. And so physically, I was releasing skin, I was shedding my old skin, and the new skin was coming forth, and something new is being born in me. And I know that to be true, and I trust Spirit in knowing that that is true, and that there is something good, divine, a blessing that comes forth from unwanted change for everyone when we take it to God in prayer, when we open and we ask and allow that good to be shown to us. So when we go to our hearts and we think about change, what I invite you to consider is that when we shift from seeing it as change as being a challenge, when we shift that and open up to the possibility of a blessing, to the possibility of some good in it, that is when Spirit can do its work and something new can be born. On this, what really was another confirmation of this is on my Christmas Eve candle, at our candle lighting service, there's an affirmation or quote wrapped around each candle. And the one that I received really blessed me from Isaiah 65:17. For I am about to create a new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. And just imagine a time when whatever challenge you may possibly be facing, that there's a time when a whole new earth, a whole new experience of yourself is born, and this time of worry and concern will be just a hint of a memory. When you reflect on change, wanted or unwanted, know that when you're meeting outer change, we are always experiencing inner change and transformation. So we can measure our year in time. We can measure our year by the changes we've experienced. And another way that I invite you into measuring 2018 is to measure it in love. So, how did you give love this year? How open were you to receiving love? And we know that life is all about giving and receiving love. Love and forgiveness are our work to do on the planet. Charles Fillmore, our Unity co-founder, gives us a metaphysical definition of love that I think is useful here as we reflect on our year. He says, love is an inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. It insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality finally to appear uppermost in itself and in all things. So are you able to see the good in all of 2018? What if you decide to see the good in areas that don't seem so good? You call forth that good. You call forth that transformative energy, allowing God to work, allowing God to reveal the love, the good, the light in those situations, in all things. It's never too late to look back on any part of your life, not just this year, any part of your life, to call forth the good and to see the blessings that there is potential in that situation to be used for good and for God to work. Jonathan Larson, who wrote Rent, unfortunately, he died unexpectedly the night before the very first preview of the show, the first public performance of Rent. Instead of canceling that first preview, at the blessing of his parents, the actors agreed to, they were in grief, they were really close to him, and it was very hard for them to do the show. What they decided to do was just stand on stage and simply just sing the score for the audience, because they had a full house of audience who paid to see the show. So they said, all right, we'll come out, in honor of Jonathan. And what happened is they were so overcome by their love for Jonathan, their passion for this art and the voice of this material, that halfway through the show, they launched into the performance and did the choreography and the staging and just fully expressed the show in an honor of Jonathan and his work, his spirit, and the connection that they have with each other. In the midst of their pain, they used love to see the good. They were in grief, they saw the good, and so they shared the good through their talent, through their love, through the message of the show, and the love of the family that their entire production team had become. And Jonathan's love continues to live on in the legacy of Rent. It's a show that has not stopped being produced since that first night has just continued. There's always been a production. And why is it relevant to us? Well, it's going to be on TV soon, one of those live musical events, and it's on Fox January 27th. If you haven't seen Rent, you need to see Rent. It's such a good musical, and then it'll really open your heart and bless you. Jonathan wrote these words shortly before his death at age 35. We lost him too soon. They were discovered on his computer by his family. He said this: "In these dangerous times where it seems the world is ripping apart at the seams, we can all learn how to survive from those who stare death squarely in the face every day. And we should reach out to each other and bond as a community rather than hide from the terrors of life at the end of the millennium," which is when he was living. So we know how essential it is in these times that we come together here at Unity of Houston as a community, as a spiritual community, to remember the love. And so we can remember the blessing of every time we walk through these doors on Sunday, or the pyramid on Wednesday, or into a class, times that we've come together to connect, to remember the truth of God, that these were moments in our year for sure that we knew and remembered the love that we are and the love that God is. We have a surprise for you, a little surprise for you. One of the most popular songs in Rent is Seasons of Love. In this song, the characters of the play are considering the philosophical question of how do you measure a year in a person's life. They came to the conclusion the value of a life can only truly be measured in increments of love. And so as you say goodbye to 2018, I invite you to remember the love that you experienced, the time that was good, the unwanted change that is bringing good for you, and the wanted change that continues to bless you. Just grateful for this opportunity to welcome in the new year with you. Happy New Year.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.